finally, somebody lit a fire under that managing board of conglomerate of presidents, or whatever they call it, that's in charge of trying to get this 12-team playoff expanded. And by sources from ESPN and Pete Thamel, it looks like all they're waiting on now is a meeting next week in Dallas with all the commissioners and the athletic director at Notre Dame to approve this deal and finally make it easier for these teams to get in that have been whining about the SEC getting all the playoff spots. Let's talk about it. The home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking. Like that old song by Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood. I'm sure a lot of teams are feeling good right about now if they've seen this story that was sent to me, by the way, by a Common Joe by the name of Kyle Urey, a loyal listener of the program. I appreciate that, Kyle. But that's what puts us in the know, is those Common Joes and Sallies in the know. Even more so than all those media talking heads. Now getting right back to it here. Also, I am the OCF, that is the Outlaw of College Football. You can find me on Twitter at OCF Productions and on Facebook under Jesse Paul Clark. Now, it looks like they might finally get the 12-team playoff. I'm sure that there was some haggling that went on with this, but it looks like more or less that Kevin Warren and some of the other commissioners that wanted automatic qualifiers to get bids may have sort of got their way somewhat, because if you look at this article on ESPN, along with Pat Thamel, are saying that they're going to get 6 automatic qualifiers as far as the 6 highest ranked conference teams. The 6th highest ranked conference teams. That means that not every conference will get a playoff berth, but for the most part, 6 conferences, especially with the way the Pac-12 is right now. I mean, that'd be one less conference that you have to worry about winning their conference and being ranked high. So it basically will cover all 6 of the major conferences. Basically, they're getting their way. They're getting an automatic bid for conference champions. And then you get 6 at-large bids. So they automatically think, now, well, we got a chance now. We're going to win championship. Not necessarily. I mean, from what I've seen in the past, now there's been a few exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, I would say about 80% of the time, those first-round playoff games are blowouts, and you only got 4 teams. So what makes you think that a first-round game between somebody and some like, I don't know, let's say if the Pac-12 stays around and their conference champion, let's say it's Washington or somebody, sneaks in there somehow with 2 or 3 losses, and they play Alabama in the first round, and Alabama blows them out. Was that really necessary? I mean, Washington probably would have been better served going into a mid-tier bowl or New Year's Day bowl and into their season on a winning note, playing a team that they maybe had a better chance at beating. But what they're probably going to do with this is they're going to have the top 4 teams will probably get a bye of some sort, even though you really don't need a bye. Since you got Christmas break, it's actually a disadvantage to have a bye at that point, because at that point you're putting too much rust on your team, in my opinion. So what you're going to have to do, in my opinion, is they may have to do away with conference championship games. And that way they can start the playoffs early, and then they can take a little hiatus in between if they want to, and then start it back up in January. But the first round of the playoffs, those teams getting in, the last 8 teams that get in, they should have to play the week before Christmas, in my opinion. And then after the Christmas break, you come back and you resume the playoffs. It's the only way I know you can do it. Now, you can play it during the Christmas break, but you have all these yada yadas all up in arms about, oh, you can't have the kids playing during Christmas break. Well, hell, you're making them play. What's it going to be like, 16 regular season games now? If you're so worried and concerned about how much time the players are playing, then why are y'all going to 12-team playoff? Like I said, I'm back and forth on this. I really can't make my mind up either way. In a way, I think it's a good thing, maybe. It does add a little something different and intrigue to college football. I mean, you could have a team that early on maybe had a lot of injuries or something, that lost 2 games early, and then everybody got healthy and they suddenly become probably the best team in America and could probably get in the playoffs at that point with 2 losses and win the national championship with a healthy roster. But then you might have an instance where one year a conference has an off year, say the Big Ten has an off year or something, and Ohio State is the highest ranked Big Ten school at number 17 or something. And because they're the highest ranked conference champion, they win their conference championship, and they're like 1 spot ahead of the conference champion of the MAC or something, they magically get in with 3 losses. That's the scenario I don't like. And there's also another scenario that's been floated too, that they're going to 12 so they can get 16. And this is what I've always feared, and it's always what I've always talked about when I've done these videos. I don't want to go to 16. 12's already enough. 12's already enough. Well, Division I AA, FCS, FBI, CIA division, whatever they call it now, they play 32 teams. Yeah, but they don't have as many games, and they don't play conference championship games, man. It's a big difference. A big difference in major college football and Division I AA playoffs. So, just want to jump in here real quick and give y'all the down low on this. There's so many scenarios that are going through my head. How they're going to work the bowls into this. You know the Rose Bowl is going to be pissed off because they always want to dominate everything. I guess they'll just rename the bowls, or they'll just call certain rounds of the playoffs the bowl name just to patronize and appease people like the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl and whatnot. But what they're going to do probably is what I see that they should do is the first round of the playoffs should be held on campus. And then once you have that first round, that wild card round, like they call it in the NFL, you get rid of 4 teams and you're down to 8. At that point, they should have to play a road game against one of the top 4 seeds. That would be a reward for being in the top 4. Why else would you strive to be in the top 4 at that point? You're going to have teams at the end of the year, there's not a reward for finishing in the top 4, but they'll just set their players just like the NFL does in that last week, because there's no reason to put your players out there at risk. I hope that don't happen, because that affects a lot of rivalry games and their outcomes. But once they get down to 8 teams, the top 4 teams should be rewarded with an on-campus game as well. Then when you get to the bottom 4, when you get to the top 4, that's when you go to neutral site games. Choose a couple of neutral site games, and of course the national championship game would also be a neutral site. And I think that's the only fair way to do it, as to maybe help the fans and their costs and travel and whatnot. But like I said, I just want to jump in here real quick, give y'all a down low on that. You guys and gals tell me what you got on it. Y'all might have some more information that you could add to this. Drop it in the comment section. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also up underneath here, there's a little thanks button. You can hit that. It's a little heart. And throw a few dollars in the coffers. That way I don't have to depend on YouTube as much. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.